What's going on, guys? It's Char here, back with another hero reveal discussion and analysis video. I'm not going to beat around the bush. We knew from the video last week that it was coming today at 10 o'clock, and it is 10 p.m. Central Time. That means we got a new hero article. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Like I said, Smooth as Silk announcing the Silk hero back for Marvel Champions. So we knew this was coming based off of the little teaser they gave at the end of their fireside chat. That has been drumming up a ton of discussion. I've talked about that in two previous videos. Make sure to check them out if you haven't. Let's get into this article and let's do some discussion and analysis. So yes, we all knew it was going to be Silk, so it's pretty cool, but let's see what she does mechanically. So this art looks insane. Like, both of them just look really good. Something about this story doesn't add up, and it's Cindy Moon. After being bitten by the same radioactive spider as Peter Parker and gaining similar spider powers, Cindy Moon spent years of her life isolated in a bunker to protect Earth from the ravenous spider hunters known as the Inheritors. Finally freed from that bunker, Cindy now fights crime on the streets of New York as both an investigative journalist and the web-slinging superhero Silk. The latest addition to the game's Web Warrior roster, which is so awesome. I'm glad they're getting more support, swings into battle with this expansion pack, which introduces Silk as a new playable hero alongside her 15 signature cards, packing a pre-built protection deck, okay, new protection cards, to keep her friends out of harm's way. You'll be able to use Silk's enhanced senses and quick reflexes to control the encounter deck from the moment you open the box. This pack also features a bonus modular set starring Atlas of the Thunderbolts. Again, really looking forward to that scenario. I don't mind it. Let's go ahead and look at what she's got. So we're going to get into her cards more closely here, but here's the spread. She has a 1-cost event, she has a 1-cost upgrade, and then she has Swinging Silk Kick, which is so awesome. I see it has the aerial trait, which is a classic callback to Spider-Man Swinging Web Kick, having aerial in the core set. That's pretty awesome. They didn't need to include that, but I'll read her hero abilities down here. Silk Sense. Boasting similar powers to everyone's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Silk nevertheless takes a very different approach to combat compared to the wall crawler from the core set. So let's go ahead and investigate both of these cards right here. So she has the Genius trait in the alter ego, just like Peter. That means she's gonna get Ingenuity support, 6 hand size, 10 hit points. So it's a good health pool. She's not squishy by any means. If there are 4 or more tuck cards here, discard all but 4 of those cards. Okay, so she's gonna have some sort of like tucking mechanic. As an action, she can discard a card tucked here to draw 2 cards. That's pretty good. It gives her a reason to flip alter ego, especially hopefully she has ways to control threat, but drawing 2 cards on something that is probably not going to be a huge cost for her sounds really good to me, especially since you can flip down, add the 2, next turn, add the 2 again. If you had 2 tuck cards there, I could see it working out. Here we have Silk on her hero side. She has a 1, 2, 3 stat line, which is exactly the same as Core Box Spider-Man, which again, I always like these thematic things. I just think it's a really cool shout out. Web Warrior trait. If there are more than 4 tuck cards here, discard all but 4 of those cards. Okay, so she has the same line of text on both sides, whether hero or alter ego. She can't have more than 4. You can only keep 4 tucked. Silk Sense Response. After you defeat a minion or side scheme, or resolve a treachery card, tuck that card under here from the counter discard pile. That is really interesting, and it really reminds me of the Silk ally that's already in the game that deals with like encounter deck manipulation. I saw some theories floating around beforehand, and it seemed like they came true. Her hero seems like it's about that as well. So when you defeat any nasty minion or side team, or you resolve a really bad treachery card, you get to tuck it and essentially remove it from the game. I find an ability like this is probably going to be really strong in a multiplayer setting, as opposed to like single player where you don't really go through the encounter deck more than one time. If you do go through once, it's rarely more than twice unless the villain has a lot of mill effects. But if you get hit by a really nasty encounter card, you can kind of have that like buffer where you're not going to get hit by it again. Maybe like an under fire in advance or something. So that's really interesting. But I do kind of think it's not weak, but you have to be careful because the wording says after you defeat a minion or side scheme or resolve a treachery card. I'm pretty sure the you in that text is still referring to her. So in a multiplayer setting, if someone else resolves Shadow of the Past, I don't think you get to tuck the card, which would be like really nice to like remove that card from the game, especially if you're going through the encounter deck. But maybe that's where that one card from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the Justice deck, where you can rearrange every single encounter card is going to come into play. You can give the really bad ones to your Silk player, have her tuck those cards after they're resolved, and you don't have to deal with them the rest of the game. Now let's read the hero ability. Central to Silk's whole game plan is her Silk Sense, which allows her to tuck encounter cards under her identity whenever she defeats or resolves them. Tuck cards are placed face up, similar to an attachment. However, unlike attachment, tuck cards are not considered in play. This represents Silk's learning her opponent's tendencies and tells over the course of a scenario, making her far more effective combatant over time. For example, when Silk attacks an enemy, her Spider Claws boost her attack power for each card tucked under her that matches the enemy's encounter set, designated in the bottom left corner of the card. Likewise, her Spider Reflexes can boost her already impressive defense stat for each tuck card that matches the encounter set of an enemy attacking her. In either case, the more you study a particular encounter set, the better Silk will be at countering the threats from that set. That is really interesting, and I guess it's kind of like disincentivizing you tucking whatever cards that are the worst. It really wants you to tuck cards from the encounter set. There are some villain encounter sets that are not threatening at all. So I don't know how I feel about that. I think it's interesting. So let's see this. Spider Claws weapon. When Silk makes a basic attack, exhaust Spider Claws. For this attack, she gets +1 attack for each card tucked under her from the same encounter set as the attacked enemy. This attack gains piercing. Okay. And then we have the Spider Reflexes, which is when Silk defends, exhaust Spider Reflexes. For this attack, she gets +1 defense for each card tucked under her from the same encounter set as the attacking enemy. After this attack, tuck the top card of the encounter deck. After this attack, tuck the top card of the encounter discard pile under Silk. That's really interesting. So if you got hit by something really nasty, it doesn't necessarily only have to be treacheries, minions, and side schemes. Maybe there's like a really bad attachment or something that you don't want. You can defend and also get rid of that. I guess you would be putting the boost card. I'm not really sure how the timing works on this. These are interesting. I really wish they weren't encounter set tied, but again, there are specific encounter set cards that you would want to tuck anyways, so it's not the end of the world. All of this culminates in Silk's eidetic memory. All right, let's read this. I have no idea what this says. Interrupt, superpower. And this is an upgrade, 1-cost upgrade. When you reveal a card from the same encounter set as a card tucked under your identity, exhaust eidetic memory, swap those cards, reveal the card that had been tucked under Silk's head. Okay, this is an insanely good upgrade. Wow. This is really good. So this kind of takes back the idea of, okay, the encounter cards in some villain sets are sometimes weaker, but if you get hit by one of those weaker cards earlier in the game and tuck that treachery, then when you reveal any card from an encounter set, this is extremely good against, there's specific villains that you just never want to see a card from their encounter set. Think like Fanaticism, like Ronin. This doesn't say when you reveal a treachery card, it's just any card from the encounter set. So you could just swap out and instantly tuck a Fanaticism if you have this out, and it won't even resolve. You'll just resolve one of his other cards instead, which again, they're not like great. They're still bad, but they're not as bad as that card. So, okay, wow, that's a really good 1-cost upgrade, which allows her to swap a particularly nasty encounter card with something more manageable among her tuck cards. Remember, since Silk can tuck away any minion she defeats, you could use this ability to swap the villain's worst treachery card with a tamer minion, then defeat that minion on your next turn and have both cards tucked under your identity. That's really interesting. There's no limit to the number of times Silk can trigger her Silk Sense, though there is a hard limit of 4 cards tucked under her at any given time. This means that you don't need to worry about occasionally discarding a tuck card for an extra benefit, such as powering up Swinging Silk Kick. Aerial Attack Superpower, I love it. Deals 7 damage to an enemy, you may discard a card tucked under Silk from the same encounter set as that enemy. If you do, it gains 2 additional damage and overkill. This is essentially just better Swinging Web Kick because you will almost always have a tuck card and you're never really pushing on the first turn where this would be a 3 for 7. So a 3 for 9 is insanely good. Or removing extra threat with a Wall Crawl. So we have Wall Crawl here. Superpower threat, 1-cost thwart event. Remove 2 threat from a scheme. Choose a scheme. You may discard a card tucked under Silk from the same encounter set as the chosen scheme. To remove, you may discard a card tucked under Silk from the same encounter set as the chosen scheme to remove 3 threat from the chosen scheme. Okay, this is a bit more limited. I mean, I guess a lot of these are kind of limited. Oh, okay. This isn't only the villain set. It's just the same encounter set as a tuck card. But still, this seems a bit more limited. It's not the end of the world because you usually will have villain cards tucked underneath you, so you can get rid of a villain specific side scheme. But if there's like really nasty side schemes in like a modular encounter set, this might be kind of weird to get the kicker. Anyway, 1 for 2 isn't terrible, especially like in solo to keep threat under control. She's no slouch in alter ego form either, where her skills as a journalist come into play. As Cindy Moon, she can spend a tuck card to draw 2 cards. Yeah, that was really, it's just a really good alter ego ability, potentially giving her some tools to work with. Her boss, J. Jonah Jameson, oh my gosh, 3-cost support, this is awesome. I like you, analog. Alter ego action, exhaust this card, search your deck and discard pile for get the scoop and put it into play. Action, exhaust this card, remove 2 threat from a side scheme. This seems like really crazy. What is get the scoop? Oh, she has her own identity specific side scheme. Okay. This card I think is extremely good. I mean, it is only 2 threat from a side scheme, but I guess it really does depend on what get the scoop does. Okay. Get the scoop for Cindy Moon, alter ego action. Exhaust your identity, remove 2 threat from here. Any player may trigger this ability, so it's sort of similar to Jubilee. But anyone can still thwart this. When defeated, the Cindy Moon player looks at the top 2 cards of the encounter deck and tucks one of those cards under her identity. I mean, this gives you, so what this card does essentially is it lets you put it into play and constantly thwart it. I feel like this identity, this player's side scheme isn't amazing. It is good. And obviously you will get some encounter deck help when you do it, and it gets your, it'll get your ability online on the first turn. It's definitely good. I just feel like J. Jonah will be also super good in like a multiplayer where like you can, I mean, I don't think there's any way to ready this card, but you can like remove from like player side schemes that aren't specifically that one. But it's good. Help her get the scoop before she puts her silk suit back on. He can also help clear some of the threat off a side scheme even after she switches to hero form, with plenty of ways to tuck and counter cards under her and plenty of uses for those tuck cards. It's clear that silk should not be underestimated. So now we have some of the protection specific aspect cards she's going to come with, so let's get into those. Scarlet Spider in the game, I think this is his first one, which is awesome. And then we have Stop Hitting Yourself. Naturally, Silk's inherent skills only make up one part of her kit, and she comes with a pre-built protection deck to keep herself and her allies healthy and hardy. Take advantage of her naturally high defense with Stop Hitting Yourself. So it's a 2-cost defense event. Hero response attack. After you defend against an enemy attack and take no damage, deal damage to that enemy equal to your defense for that attack. Do I think this is good? I guess so, because she can buff her defense stat, so it can be like a 2 for 6 if she gets her defense that high. Yeah, I like it. It's good. It's kind of different from Counter Punch, where it doesn't really care if you take damage or not, but it only does equal to your attack, which come out excellently with her Spider Reflexes for a potent counter attack. That's her defense one, correct? Yes, okay, I'm thinking correctly. Call on Scarlet Spider to put damage away for Silk or your other web warriors. Okay, let's read Scarlet Spider. So he is a 3-cost ally. He takes 2 consequential, but he has 5 health. So that means he gets 3 activations from what I'm looking at. Interrupt. When another web warrior character would take any amount of damage, Scarlet Spider takes that damage instead. Roses are red, spiders are 2. One comes in scarlet, the other in blue. Okay, I like the flavor text is really fun. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about this. He's kind of like 3 for 5. He's kind of just like a big health buffer. You can just use him to defend 2 villain attacks. He's sort of reminiscent of like the Groot ally for like Guardians, but it doesn't say only web warriors can play this. I mean, if you have a way to buff his, stats, I mean, 3 for 5 is just a really good stat line. He can do like 2 thwarting and then a block, or you can just block 2 hits, hopefully. Yeah, not bad. Or you can equip Energy Shield. It's a 0-cost upgrade attached to a character, max 1 per character. When the attached character would take any amount of damage, you can spend as many Lightning Bolt resources to prevent X of that damage. To one of them to reduce incoming damage, even consequential damage. This is a really interesting upgrade. It's like a resource sink to reduce consequential. While in alter ego form, you can call on the aid of Dr. Sinclair. Okay, it's a 2-cost persona support in protection, kind of like the Night Nurse. Alter ego action, exhaust Dr. Sinclair and spend a mental resource. Heal damage equal to your alter ego From your alter ego equal to your recovery, you may discard one status card from your identity. Any player may trigger this ability. I really like this. So it's a higher initial cost, but it's permanent. And as long as you guys have mental resources to spend, you can get a heal without actually exhausting. I don't mind this. And it's kind of Night Nurse-esque because you get rid of one of those status cards. For some therapeutic healing, and when you're ready to fight, you can quick change to hero form to interrupt. Oh, wait. Is this like Armor Up from Colossus? Ready for a fight. Preparation card. Okay, preparation protection card. Requirement, you have to spend a fist resource, maximum per player. When an enemy would scheme, discard ready for a fight, change the hero mode that enemy attacks you instead. This is crazy. Yeah, this is really good because sometimes protection does need to flip down, but after you get that heal, you really don't want to spend the turn in alter ego. You get that card draw, and then you can just go from there and start taking the villain attacks. I like that card. Madam Web lets you stack the encounter deck, making it easier for Silk to grab cards from the encounter sets she wants with Silk Scent. 3 cost support Madam Web, the best Marvel movie of all time. She has 2 thwart, 3 cost, 2 health. After she enters play, look at the top X cards of the encounter deck, where X is the number of Web Warrior cards you control. You may discard 1 card looked at this way and put the rest back in anywhere. This is an insanely good card. Obviously, your stats are a bit lower to kind of mitigate it, but the thing about it is that you're going to have so many Web Warrior cards on the table at one point that you just, especially in solo and even 2-player, you just get so much control over the encounter deck that's just going to be really good for you. Finally, and she can rearrange them in any order, which is awesome. Finally, Cindy can always team up with Peter Parker for some stellar investigative journalism, potentially stopping up to 2 schemes in one go. This is awesome art. Oh my goodness. Investigative journalism. Team up Cindy Moon and Peter Parker. Oh, so it's an alter ego team up, which is crazy. Maximum per deck. Alter ego interrupt. When the enemy would scheme, cancel that activation and confuse that enemy. I mean, if you're doing the spider team up and you're both flipped down in one turn and you play around it, I mean, it's not bad. Like, it's definitely not bad. I like that. It's really fun. And then we have the Thunderbolts encounter set here, which is growing strong. As we mentioned earlier, the Silk Hero Pack also comes with the modular encounter set featuring Atlas of the Thunderbolt. So this is one of the Thunderbolt enemies. He has 0 scheme, 3 attack, 18 health. Villain is victory 1. Atlas gets +2 hit points for each growth counter on him. After the villain phase ends, place 1 growth counter. Oh, so his health just goes up and up. If there's one word to describe Atlas, it's big. Not only is he an elite minion with 18 hit points, he gets even more hit points the larger you allow him to grow. Let him grow too big and he'll eventually grow invulnerable, altogether costing you the game. While Atlas is growing strong, you'll have to grow even stronger if you have any chance to take this Titan down. So his side scheme is grow invulnerable. When revealed, place 1 additional threat here for each growth counter on Atlas. If Atlas has 10 or more growth counters on him, the players lose the game. That's crazy. So if this gets flipped from the encounter deck, you just instantly lose while he is growing strong. When reveal, find Atlas and reveal him. If he's already in play, he engages you. Atlas activates against you. If no enemy activated this way, this card gains Surge. Okay. As an elite Thunderbolt minion, Atlas encounter set can be used as part of the Thunderbolt scenario in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Naturally, since it's still a modular encounter set in its own right, you can always choose to add it to any other scenario for an added challenge as well. And that's Silk. Then uses her alter ego art. Her hero art and her alter ego art are just so good. I wonder what art this card is a part of. It's probably another upgrade, but we haven't seen it yet. It says, get the skill. With her ability to learn and counter threats of different encounter sets to maximum effect, Silk is a terrific hero and fantastic addition to any team. Look forward to taking on the Agents of AIM with Silk when the Silk Hero Pack arrives in April. So that is Silk. That is so awesome. I don't know what else I can say about it. I really love that her counter deck manipulation is going on. To be fair, if they didn't limit kind of like what cards she could counter in the same encounter set, it might have been a bit crazy. So I kind of do understand this. I think swinging Silk Kick is extremely good. We're at 3 for 9. Power creep, obviously joking because it does take a little bit of setup, but 3 for 9 is awesome. I loved all the parallels to Peter Parker. Spider-Man, the genius trait. She has the 1-2-3 stat line, the swinging Silk Kick. She has a team up card with him, and she was bit by the same spider. So of course, all of these things do make sense. Very cool. I'm gonna do a quick look at some of the really nasty treachery cards you can think about tucking in the game. Okay, so here I am on Marvel CDB, as you can see, I use their search feature to search every card that's a treachery. I'm gonna be honest, I know there's probably some really nasty like minions and side schemes that I'm not specifically thinking about at the moment. I guess one of them would be Seize from Magneto is extremely bad, so maybe we can actually add that one because I just remembered it. Um, so yeah, so this is something an example of when revealed, each player plays the top 6 card of their deck face down. When defeated, Magneto activates against the player who defeated the scheme. This is something that you would love to get rid of from the encounter deck, and even something like Magneto who mills and goes to his encounter decks a lot. And this is magnetic specifically, so you just never want to deal with this when he's activating. I just looked at a lot of the really nasty treacheries though, because those are the ones that I feel like affect the most. You're fighting Thanos, you can get rid of the Avatar of Death, which is just another extra activation for him. And obviously his hero activation is really scary because it's the overkill and piercing. It's the only, instance that he has in his encounter set, I'm pretty sure, outside of like boost effects. And so if you already have one of his weaker Thanos treachery cards, like the ones that give him a tough underneath Silk and that one cost upgrade, you can switch out the Avatar of Death as soon as it comes out, and that'd be really good for you. Obviously, we have like the classic standard cards. You wouldn't want to deal with in advance if you have a choice to. Maybe you choose to get caught off guard. Maybe you choose to, get assaulted or something and gang up. It just depends on the scenario. Shadow of the Past, of course, is a prime example of this. You don't want all those cards on the table. Maybe you take the advance that you just stored under instead. And finally, any of the expert set cards. I'm not even going to talk about expert 2 and standard 2. Obviously, those count as well. Under Fire, I got hit by this, I think, twice. Last stream when I was playing with my good friend in the Mad Titan Shadows campaign. So if I could have, tugged Under Fire after the first time, I wouldn't have to have dealt with it the second time, and it would have been a lot better for me. So let me know what you guys think about Silk down in the comment section down below. I think that she is extremely cool, and what she does is extremely unique to the point where, she's just, what she does is very unique and does the encounter deck manipulation in a way that no hero has ever really done. You have like kind of, inklings of this through like Scarlet Witch and whatnot, but a lot of the encounter deck manipulation has really been through aspect cards. And this hero's like, I'm here. This is my, this is my shtick. This is what I'm good at. And I'm excited to see how it works out. Let me know if you guys are excited down below as well. Leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't. Join the Discord for great conversations talking about Silk and anything Marvel Champions. And that's going to be all from me. Take it easy. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one. See you guys in the next one. Goodbye.